Hi, I'm Jeffrey Erickson. I'm here with my daughter today, and I'm going to be walking her and you through a solo play of City Builder Ancient World, published by Inside Up Games. I'm not going to be doing a full rules run through. If you're interested in that, the solo game actually follows the cooperative rules pretty closely. So I will be walking through some of the solo play changes, but I won't be giving a full run through. Okay, so let's get started. City Builder, you're trying to, as the name implies, build a great city for your emperor. You are trying to gain his favor by fulfilling his edicts and building monuments and just making a great city to be a part of. So we're going to be bringing in settlers, we're going to be populating houses as we build districts, and we're going to be trying to build his favorite monuments. So, some changes to the solo play. We are not going to be using any of the starter tiles that you would normally use as part of the cooperative game. We're going to be using all 60 city tiles rather than doing a per player distribution of the tiles there. We're not going to be creating a tile supply. Instead, we're going to be drawing tiles every turn that we're going to choose from. And a change from the rules that are currently published on Kickstarter or posted on Kickstarter. Instead of using 2 settler tracks, we're actually only going to be using 1 settler track, and you'll see how that changes some of the rules later too. So in the solo play, we're going to, normally in the cooperative version, there are 3 phases of the game. There's the immigration, expansion, and upkeep step. We're going to get rid of the upkeep step because it is just us. And the immigration and expansion steps are actually going to change a little bit. During the immigration phase, we're going to draw 2 commoners from the bag, and we're going to add one of those commoners to our track over here. And then the other one, we can either choose to return to the bag or we can take it out of the game completely. So you'll notice in the rules it talks about adding one to either of the 2 tracks. In this case, since we only have 1 track, we're just going to add it as we would normally to our own track in the cooperative game. Then during the expansion phase, we would draw 3 tiles from the city stack, and we would choose one to put into play. So those 3 are going to go straight into our hand. We're going to play one of them, and then the other 2 are actually then out of the game. And the game will go until we draw the last tiles out of the city stack, play that last hand, and then we check the victory conditions. So the victory conditions, in this case, I'm going to be playing the easy version, so I need to build 2 of these 4 monuments up here. And if we were playing medium or hard, we would be either doing 3 of those for medium. If we were in the hard, we would draw 5 of those monuments, and we would have to complete 4 of them. We're also going to be looking at the edict here. Actually, let's go ahead and look a little bit more closely. So if we look down here, the one we're going to be looking at is Strength and Honor, and just like in the cooperative game, we can choose either side of this edict if we want. So no city is allowed to have more than 4 different colored settlers for strict immigration, or Strength and Honor. Each city must build a populated district with 2 statues and no other landmarks. I think I'm going to go with strict immigration today. I think that sounds like it could be something we could do. So let's go back out here, take a look at our board. Once we have everything ready to go, we can flip over our player guide here. So it does list out the phases of the solo play here: immigration, expansion, and it gives us a nice view of what it takes to bring in our commoners and nobles there. All right, let's start playing. All right, so the first thing we're going to do during immigration is we are going to draw 2 settlers. If we take a look at what we have out here, it looks like I'm set up to maybe start getting involved in orange there. So I'm going to choose this orange settler, put him at the top of my track here, and return the red settler back to the bag. Next, I'm going to take those 3 tiles. I'm going to draw those 3 into my hand, and let's go see what we need to do. Actually, let's take a look at our monuments as well, see what we might need to build. So Temple of Mars, this city must hold an equal number of settlers in 2 colors. That could be something we could certainly shoot for. City must hold 4 nobles. That seems a little harder to me, but we'll see. Maybe opportunity will present itself for that one. Cloaca Maxima, The layout of the city must be a 5x4 or 4x5 grid. The games that I've played so far, I've kind of spread out, so that might be a little difficult, but we can certainly keep that in mind as we play. And in Temple of Jupiter, immediately add 2 settlers to each track when built. So if we do that, that's going to increase the number of settlers that we have to deal with. And as if you know the rules, if you end up placing a settler, if you end up placing a settler down here on this last space, that's game over for solo play. So that could become a little tricky as well. All right, so let's take a look. We're going to be trying to build some districts here. And to build districts, you've got to have, if we take a look at our play here, to build districts, you've got to be able to surround them with the roads. And then you're going to be putting settlers on these white houses based on the rules that are up here for each color. So for green, we would need a green and then a different colored landmark in there, blue and a different colored landmark for commoners, or 2 greens and another different color landmark for the nobles. So at this point, given where we are in our city, and we have orange, I think what I'm going to try to do is let's try putting this one here, and we're going to rotate that around so that we can start building some other districts. All right, now these guys are going out of the game. So one of the things I'm doing here in Tabletopia is sort of making a little discard pile. You certainly don't need to do this. This is just something that I find makes the board a little tidier to deal with. So I will do that. All right, let's go and immigrate again. We're going to take 2, blue and red. Neither one of those are particularly useful for us at this point, so let's just go ahead and take blue and return red to the bag and get our hand here. And let's take a look at what we got going now. You'll notice we have a statue down here. Statues can be used as a monument of any color, so that's actually pretty useful. So we could actually, with that statue, I think what we could do, put that down, rotate it, and now we've got a district that has an orange monument and an any color monument and 2 houses. So let's go ahead and take that orange settler and bring him in right there. And that blue settler, we're going to call that statue blue. And once you use a statue as that color, it can't change color. But at this point, we don't have any other houses to fill up in that district, so we're good. All right, so we have a full district there. All right, let's get rid of these cards, or these tiles, and go back to immigration. Let's see what we draw this time. Oh, lots of choice there. We'll take green and put the other one back in the bag. Get our tiles. And let's see. Whoops. Wrong key. Let's go back here. All right. So at this point, I wonder if we should try to look at getting maybe that Temple to Jupiter out here. So I'm going to do this, and let's rotate that around. In my previous solo plays, sometimes I've done pretty well, but have come up 1 monument short. So now I'm sort of skittish, and I want to get some of those monuments out early if I can. So I am going to see every city. Oh, I just realized we have the wrong edict out there. We had actually chosen strict immigration before, so I'm going to flip that back over, and I'm not quite sure why it's not staying flipped when I put it back on there. So what I'm going to do is just leave it out here, and I'm going to grab these, put them off to the side so I don't get distracted. Put this over here and flip that so now we have it the right way. All right, so moving on, let's go back, draw our settlers. Ooh, we have blue and orange again, and it looks like we're getting set up for either one of those. Let's take orange. Whoops. And we'll put blue back in the bag. Take our tiles. And let's see what we got. So if we can, now the thing with monuments have to be built in a district that are exactly that shape. So at this point, with what we just drew, we're not going to be able to do our monuments where I was thinking of doing it, maybe up right here. But we could actually do something interesting with this district over here. We want to have potentially an equal number of settlers of two colors. So we've got orange and green out there. We've got an orange monument there. If we take green and maybe put it in here and rotate that, that gives us the potential, if we can get another house in there, we could potentially get orange and green in there. And maybe we start looking at using those to fulfill the Temple of Mars up here. That could be interesting. So let's go ahead and get rid of these. And go back to the immigration phase. Draw our settlers. Tabletopia, there we go. Okay, now this gives us an interesting choice. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a noble. Now, as you know from the cooperative game, whenever you get two commoners in a row, you can actually turn those into a noble. So those two will go back into the bag, and we'll draw a noble from our supply over here, and it will go onto our track. All right, and let's get our tiles. And what are we going to look at now? So now we have an orange noble to go out, as well as a green commoner. So we kind of want to get another orange, I think, in this district. And yep, there we did. We got one. So let's go ahead and put that down there and rotate it. Oops. There we go. Now, what we're going to want to do is somehow get another tile up here to cap that off and create that district. But at this point, there's nothing we can do with the rest of these tiles, so we'll discard those. And there we go. Back to immigration. Let's see what we get. All right, a blue and a red. Now, we've got to remember, too, that our edict says we cannot have more than 4 different colored settlers. So at this point, we've got blue and orange. We're probably going to try to get that green out there. So red is okay, but we also want to look at that the Mars monument. So let's go ahead and get blue out there, because that gives us some flexibility. So let's put red back into the bag. And get our tiles. And what do we have? We did not get what we wanted in order to be able to cap off that district with 2 houses. So where else do we want to build? We've got a statue up there that we can really make into anything. So let's do this. Let's maybe take this tile and let's put it down here in this district, and maybe red is something we're going to want to go for. So whoops, let's rotate that and get rid of these tiles here and discard those and go back to our immigration phase. Draw our settlers, green and orange. Let's see. What do we have out there right now? If we take this green, that would potentially get us 2 greens out there. And we do have some places where we can start building some greens. So let's put orange back in the bag at this point. I also don't want to forget about getting those monuments out there. So let's keep that in mind with what we're looking at this time as well. There is exactly the one we were hoping to get at the end of this district. So let's go ahead and put that out there. And then we also have an interesting statue out there that we could potentially get into an interesting district. So now that we have a district that we've built right in here, we have 2 oranges and a green. Or actually, we've got the green and a monument of another color, so we can put the green settler out. So remember, we have to go from the top of the row, work ourselves down. But now that we've got 2 oranges and one of another color, we can bring that orange noble in there. So we can put that on that house. And then these guys are going to move up on the track. And there we go. Let's get rid of these tiles. And get back to the immigration phase. All right, who are we going to draw this time? Ooh, blues and reds. You know what? Let's get red out there. It looks like we were getting ready to do some red stuff anyway. We'll check just in case. Yeah, we've got some reds lined up to be able to do some things. So let's go ahead and do that. We are going to want to be able to get rid of that blue and green as well first. So maybe instead of using this as a monument, as a place for a monument, maybe we do want to make that into a district where we can use those settlers as well. So let's put blue back in the bag and draw our tiles. And let's see what we can see. All right. So this could be interesting. What if we were to connect this district with that statue down there that would give us some wilds? That would give us some interesting opportunities. Now, I do need to keep in mind that we do want to build these monuments, and the game does go faster than you think it does. But at this point, let's go with it and see what happens. Get rid of our tiles and immigration. Now, one thing I do want to say is, looking back over here, it is going to take us 2 turns before we could even consider finishing off this district. We've got 2 slots, so we are going to be cutting it kind of close there. But I think we can do it. So let's see what happens. All right, let's turn that into a red noble. I think that would be useful at this point. And then perhaps at that point, we do start shooting for that Pantheon, because we will already have 2 nobles in our city. So let's put those reds back in the bag. Whoops, physics getting the best of me there. And turn that into a red noble. All right, draw our tiles and see what we can see. All right, we do want to get some more houses into that district. We've got 2 houses. We also want to be able to close it off, though. So, you know what? To get that red noble in there, we are going to need another red house, and we would be able to use that statue to be able to do that, to get another red in there. So let's go ahead and put that one in there and get rid of our tiles. Whoops. Flip. And there we go. And back to the immigration phase, see what we can draw. All right, green and purple. Pretty sure we do not want purple at this point, so let's put purple back in the bag, because we can only have 4 colors, and we already have, if we look, we've already got 3 different colors in there, and if we want to get that red out, purple kind of locks us out. Now, purple is harder to do anyway, so if you see with purple, you need 3 landmarks of different colors to bring out a purple. So they are a little more difficult to get out, so I'm not too sad that we won't be working with purple this game. But I think we're in good shape with our settlers there. Let's draw our 3 and see where we can put them. Now, ideally, we would want another house down here so that we could actually make use of all of those settlers. But we did not draw what we wanted to draw there. So we can push it one more round, and we'll see if we can start doing something somewhere else that would be useful. So let's start building a district where we can get one of those monuments out. So let's go ahead and let's maybe use this one, and we'll put it up here. And I think maybe we can get a monument going out here. Now you can see we are already at 5 by 5 if I do that. So that kind of makes it difficult for that 5 by 4 layout. But honestly, I think that's one I'm not going to go for this time. So I'm not even going to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one there. I think that, you know, just in case, I wonder, what if we put it there and potentially turn this into something else that we could do later. Let's give ourselves a buffer, and we'll wait and see. And get rid of those guys. Let's flip it. And see, this is me trying to be tidy, but taking a little bit of extra time there. All right. So go back to the immigration phase. This time we're going to need to finish off that district. We know we don't want the purple, and actually a little bit of good luck there. That green can now be a green noble. So if we put that purple back, we will take those guys, put them back in the bag, and bring ourselves a green noble into our settler track. And let's go ahead and draw 3 more tiles and see what we can see. Unfortunately, we did not get another house to finish off that district. But you know what? We actually have another turn we can wait on that because of that green settler that we got. So let's hold off on that. And what we're going to do, let's get one of these monuments out there. Now, obviously, we can't take the Jupiter one, and that's kind of the one I wanted to get when it was going to be early on. So maybe what we can do, if you look, this might give us some interesting options. If you look over here, what if we put this over here and rotated that around? We actually have 3 houses, so it's not the most efficient use of things, but we've got a green landmark and a statue that we could use as anything. So we could actually bring this blue commoner down there and this green commoner over there. Now we can't put any more in there because we don't have any other landmarks to use, but that does give us a little bit more breathing space. So let's go ahead and move those up the settler track. And now, if we can get a green to cap off this other district, that would actually let us put both of those nobles that are waiting in our settler track into that district. So let's go back to immigration. See what we can see. All right, red and green. What do we have out there right now? We've got 2 greens. We're going to have 3 out there. Let's go ahead and bring a red down. That'll keep things somewhat more even. Okay, so put green back in the bag. Draw our tiles. And let's see what we can see. There is the green cap that we needed for that district. So that's going to work out nicely. So let's go ahead and lay that one right there. And with that, we have 2 green landmarks in the district. We've got a statue and a red landmark. So we can bring both the red noble into that house and the green noble into that house. Now, it would have been nice to be able to clear our settler track, but you actually can't have more than one of a color in a district. So even if we had had another house in there, we would not have been able to bring that red commoner into that district because we already have a red noble in there. So I'm okay leaving him up there, but that gives us some really good breathing room. And now maybe we might start thinking about that Jupiter, the temple to Jupiter up there. If we take a look there, if we build that one, we immediately add 2 settlers to our track. So now we've got a little bit of breathing space. Maybe we do want to think about building that. Let's see what comes up. All right, green and purple. We know purple's going back in the bag because we already have 4 colors out there. So put green down there, draw our tiles. Now you'll see we have 21 tiles left. So after this turn, we're only going to have 7 more turns to get things done. So I have a feeling we might need to be a little bit more efficient. We do have 3 nobles out there. So if we can get another noble out there, that would actually, and if we can get that temple to Jupiter out there, that would actually fulfill our victory conditions. So we might be, I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but we might be in good shape. I kind of want to get, one of those monuments out there. So why don't we do this? Why don't we put this one out there? Let's rotate it. And there are no houses in there, but we don't need a house to build one of these monuments out there. And you know what? Since let's be a little risky, and let's bring that Temple of Jupiter down here into that district. Okay, so we're going to do that and rotate that so it actually fits. And now this is kind of cool. On the back of each of these monuments is artwork that actually, wasn't even paying attention to explain this. If you take a look, each of the monuments actually has a requirement on it. This monument can only be built in a district with a red and a blue landmark in it. So if you look, though, the district we want to put it in does have a red and a blue landmark in it. So we are good to put it there. I just wanted to point that out. Whoops, as Tabletopia goes crazy on me. There we go. So let's go ahead and we'll put that one in that district. Rotate it, and there we go. All right, so if you look on the back here, you'll actually see that there is artwork reflecting that. So when you actually fulfill the monument, you can flip that over and get a cool feel for what that's going to look like. Now with Jupiter, we need to immediately add 2 settlers to the track. So let's go ahead and do that. Fortunately, we did not get a purple. Now I'm not quite sure with that if we would do a draw, put one back, draw, put one back like we would during the immigration phase, but I'm going to play it like we actually have to. I'm not sure why this won't. Let's see what happens if we try to, whoops. Let's see what happens if we try to flip him. He's just going to stay on his edge for now. I'm not quite sure what that one's doing, but there it is. All right. So let's go back, take a look. We've got 1 of our monuments built. So let's get rid of these, flip them, clean that up, and there we go. Now, we're going to need to clear some stuff off of our queue. So I might have actually just killed our city, but we will see. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe I should have put the Temple of Mars in there, but we'll see what happens. That might not have been the best decision of the game. All right, green and orange. What do we want to do out there? We have 3 greens. Let's get an orange out there. We're going to have 4 greens. So let's get an orange into our track. And I have a feeling I made the wrong decision there by doing the Temple of Jupiter. but we will see what happens. All right, we'll draw our tiles. Maybe we'll get lucky on our next next go. And what kind of tiles do we have to work with here? And is there any place I could finish off a district to get a red settler out there without having to worry about getting a lucky draw on the next phase? So we've got a district. This is going to be, that's a tough district right there, because it would need a cap here, and something in there. That would take us 3 turns. We've got 1. Let's see. I don't see anywhere. You know what? We might just have to get lucky and trust our draw. So let's go ahead and, because we've got a red and a green, let's go ahead and put, let's do this. Let's rotate that so that we've got the red and the green up there, and then maybe, just maybe, we'll get a lucky draw from our immigration phase, draw an orange that we'll be able to turn into a noble. And, whoops, I forgot to select all here. You know what, I don't think we're going to make it anyway, so let's go ahead and do a little cleanup and do what's likely our last immigration phase. Please be an orange, please be an orange, please be an orange. And it's 2 purples. So we have lost the game because this would have to go down here on that track. All right, so that was not the best playthrough, but hopefully you got a feel for how the solo game will play. I am really enjoying this game. The solo is a really interesting puzzle, trying to manage all of the different choices in the game, choosing the monuments that you're trying to build, when you're going to do that, building the districts. This is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much to Inside Up Games for putting this out there. Everyone have a great day, and I will talk to you all later.